Hey music friends, this is Davi Vasc. I'm a music composer for games, and today after a long time we're gonna listen to and talk about some Hollow Knight music again. And it's a track that we've all heard a bunch of times, but have we ever actually paid attention to it? Today we will. That track is Dirtmouth. Let's go! Oh man, this is gonna be nostalgic. It hasn't even been that long since I played this. See, I didn't even... Yes, violin. Oh man, that melody. Man, Hollow Knight music is so amazing in the sense that listening to this, I can sense the whole world, the whole atmosphere of Hollow Knight, because the composer always hides some elements of other themes. There's some mannerisms, there are some melody fragments of, you know, the main theme of, you know, all these other themes that build the music of Hollow Knight are hidden everywhere. So you always have this sense of consistency across the entire soundtrack. And man, this is such a background kind of track. It's not super exciting. So this track never really takes the center stage. I didn't even remember it started with this piano section. What I always remember, what I feel like everybody remembers, is the violin, right? Yeah, the violin. And this melody is what I was talking about the fragments. There's so much of this that reminds me of the main theme. Well, first of all, the main theme, I was just listening to the main theme here, and he follows the same structure of the main theme, so it sounds very familiar after being on the title screen for a few seconds and then going to Dirtmouth. This feels very familiar. He follows the same structure. He starts with the piano part, and then he follows with this very lonely solo violin, just like in the main theme. Remember? Check this out. Right? Main theme starts with the piano. And we all know this, we all heard this a million times. Then he does the violin, right? But the thing that I want to point out, specifically here in the main theme, check this out. There's a specific part. This is so good, man. Such a good melody. Check this out. Now we're going back to Dirtmouth. Check this out. Check out how familiar it is, how consistent he is trying to make this whole soundtrack be. See? This is what he just did. The part that I just showed you on the main theme does this. Right? So it's the same notes. Right? But on the main theme, he would follow that up with. And here he just moves on to something else. moves on to something else. So with that, you have that effect of, you know, listening to something familiar. And this track should sound familiar, right? It's the hub area. And the piano again. Oh, wait, I didn't remember this. This is straight up the main theme. It's the main theme. I didn't remember this. Yeah, so this sense of familiarity helps this area feel more familiar, more relaxing. It feels like home. It feels like something you know. And, you know, Hollow Knight is a dark game, so there's still a lot of sadness in this. It feels melancholic, but man, does it feel good to return from an adventure and get into Dirtmouth and be greeted with this, right? Doesn't it feel relaxing? It feels like you're home. It feels like you're safe. And speaking of, you know, melancholy and sadness, I'm gonna show you what he's doing exactly to give you that feeling of, you know, peacefulness with a little bit of a sliver of sadness and anguish. Check this out. Listen to the arpeggio underneath. Do you know what an arpeggio is? Arpeggio just means that he's doing a chord, but instead of playing all the notes of the chord like this all at the same time, he's playing one note at a time like this. And that arpeggio gives it like it feels more relaxing because you're not, especially because it's a slow arpeggio, you're not hitting the notes with full force all at the same time. Here it loses a lot of the impact. It feels a lot softer when you do it one note at a time, just sweeping the whole chord slowly with the arpeggio. But more importantly, the notes that he's doing here. Check this out. This is a sad chord, regular sad chord, right? The only special thing about this is that he's using a note called a ninth. And the ninth is a very interesting note. I can explain it as kind of an extra note. The ninth is not necessary for you to understand the chord. If you remove the ninth, which is this one, this note, the chord doesn't change at all. It's still a sad chord. It's not a fundamental note to the chord, but it's an extra note and it adds a little bit of emotion. And for the ninth, what does it add to the chord in terms of emotion? That is actually very debated. The emotions that these extra notes add are so subtle that there's not a consensus on what exactly the emotion is. But for me, for my ears, the ninth, this note here, has always felt like a little bit of anguish, a little faint sense of urgency, a little bit of a sense of anxiety, a faint sense of anxiety. It's not super strong. That's why I feel like it works so well here. If he had used like a straight up disturbing chord, remember the disturbing chords that they use all the time in Souls games, stuff like this, it would be too forceful, it would be too strong, it wouldn't feel relaxing. So that goes to show how much of a master Christopher Larkin is for knowing how to subtly add emotion in a way that makes the track relaxing and peaceful, but he leaves that sense of urgency, that sense of anxiety and anguish in the back of your mind. That is genius, man. Listen to that to that arpeggio. And that ninth is there. Always underlining that melancholy, right? And the solo violin, I feel like I mentioned that in my main theme video as well. The solo violin feels so lonely, so intimate and introspective, right? It's one voice, it's one single voice, one quiet voice in this big void. It feels so quiet and lonely, right? He could have chosen an entire orchestra to do this, but it's just two instruments, piano and violin. The main theme part is coming up. Oh man, so good, so nostalgic. This track was suggested on Patreon by Linda Wingfield. Hooray, Linda Wingfield! And hey, do you know what a good pastime is while you wait for Silksong? Binging all my videos on Hollow Knight music. There's a bunch of them here, check them out, and remember, whenever you're ready to spread your wings and go on a music journey again, I'll see you there.